Great. Okay, welcome everyone to Team Canada's Tokyo 2020 Road and Track Cycling Team announcement. Bienvenue à l'annonce des membres de l'équipe canadienne de cyclisme sur route et sur piste pour Tokyo 2020. Perhaps this is a really exciting day for the athletes and for myself, and perhaps the emotions were more intense on the day these athletes earned their nomination, but this moment, being officially named to Team Canada, is indeed a big one. My name is Marty Mcbean, and I am Team Canada's Tokyo 2020 +1 chef de mission. Mon nom est Marty Mcbean et je suis le chef de mission d'équipe Canada pour les Jeux de Tokyo 2020. As a rower, I get cycling. In fact, I have more bikes than I have boats, but the sprint power, the steep banks of the velodrome, and the enduring distance that you cover absolutely inspires me. We are now less than a year away from Tokyo 2020, and as you may have seen in my last letter to the Tokyo hopefuls last week, everything that has or hasn't happened in the last 6 months and everything that's going to happen in the coming year is part of your story. The journey of an athlete is a tale of persistence, determination, effort, and resilience. As part of the story, I'm incredibly excited to officially nominate our first group of individuals to Team Canada. I would now like to turn it over to the High Performance Director of Cycling Canada, le Directeur de la Haute Performance de Cyclisme Canada, Chris Westwood.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. As is with the case with every sport, it's been a pretty complicated process for us to get to the point of being able to do this announcement, thanks to the pandemic. The qualification period for road cycling ended in the fall of 2019, and for track cycling, it ended right at the beginning of March 2020, so just before the lockdown took effect. We had been ready to name all of the athletes we're naming today earlier this spring, but because of the Olympic postponement, which we found out about in April, then we had to wait for confirmation from the International Federation to know if our quotas were being upheld in the road and the track events, and fortunately we did get that confirmation. So once it was announced the games were postponed, we started to pull together all the relevant information, and we had to make amendments to our selection criteria. Unfortunately, for the athletes on the call today, there was no change to those criteria. And that opened the door to us being able to make the announcement we're doing today. We are going to have to wait until 2021 to announce the third and final male road athlete, and of course the mountain bike and BMX teams for Tokyo. So without further ado, I do want to let you know the names of the individuals who've been nominated to compete for Team Canada in Tokyo. Sans plus tarder, voici les noms des athlètes nommés pour représenter l'équipe canadienne aux Jeux de Tokyo 2020, ou 2021 si vous voulez. So representing Canada in men's road, représentant l'équipe canadienne en cyclisme sur route masculin, Hugo from Saint-Perpétue, Quebec. He's going to compete in both the road race and the time trial events. And Mike Woods from Ottawa, Ontario, who will compete in the road race event. And because we did qualify a third men's road spot, but because several of our male road athletes were injured during the qualification period in 2019, it was impossible for us to make a fair selection of the third and final starter. So we are going to be nominating that athlete based on performances in international competitions up until May of 2021. Now, representing women's road cycling, représentant le cyclisme sur route féminin, Caroline Canuel from Amos, Quebec, who will compete in the road race and the time trial, and Leah Kirkman from Winnipeg, Manitoba, who will compete in the road race and time trial events as well. We also have named two non-traveling alternates for the women's road events. They're Allison Jackson from Vermilion, Alberta, and Sarah Poitvin from Canmore, Alberta. We will also be naming men's alternates once we've completed the final selection period in May of 2021. Then for women's track endurance, représentant les épreuves féminines d'endurance en cyclisme sur piste, Alison Beveridge of Calgary, Alberta, who will be competing in the team pursuit and the omnium. Ariane Bonhomme from Gatineau, Quebec, who will compete in the team pursuit. Jasmine During of Coquitlam, British Columbia, who will compete in the team pursuit. Annie Foreman-Mackey from Kingston, Ontario, who will also compete in the team pursuit. And Georgia Simmerling from Vancouver, British Columbia, who will compete in the team pursuit. For men's track endurance, donc représentant les épreuves masculines d'endurance en cyclisme sur piste, Vincent de Etre from Cumberland, Ontario, who will compete in the team pursuit. Michael Foley from Milton, Ontario, who will compete in the team pursuit and the Madison. Derek G. from Osgood, Ontario, who will compete in the team pursuit and the Madison. And Jay Lamoureux from Victoria, British Columbia, who will compete in the team pursuit. We've also named one non-traveling alternate, and that's Adam Jameson from Horseshoe Valley, Ontario. On the women's sprint side, so representing women's sprint, représentant les épreuves féminines de sprint, Lauriane Genet from Lévis, Quebec, who will compete in the sprint and the Kieran events, and Kelsey Mitchell from Sherwood Park, Alberta, who will compete in sprint and Kieran as well. And we have a non-traveling alternate named, and that's Sarah Orban of Calgary, Alberta. Representing men's sprint, donc représentant les épreuves masculines de sprint, Hugo Barrett from Île-la-Madeleine, Quebec, who will compete in the sprint and the Kieran, and Nick Wams from Bothwell, Ontario, who will compete in the sprint and Kieran.
This is where I would stop. Yes, exactly. This is where I would stop and wait for applause. The crowd goes wild. I know everyone at home is. Thank you, Chris. And once again, congratulations to everyone who's nominated today. Merci, Chris. Et une fois de plus, félicitations à ceux et celles qui sont nommés aujourd'hui. We will now move into our Q&A portion of this webinar. And to help with this segment, I'd like to introduce a good friend and Olympic legend who has quite an Olympic resume. A four-time Olympian and Canada's most decorated cycling Olympian of all time, member of both Canadian Sports Hall of Fame and the Canadian Olympic Hall of Fame, chef de mission and a mentor of mine, chef de mission for both the Tokyo 2015 Pan American Games and the Rio 2016 Olympic Games, Harnett. Kurt continues to give back to cycling community as an active member of Cycling Canada's board of directors.
Hey, thanks, Marty. And congratulations to all of the cycling athletes that were named today to the Tokyo 2020 team. You said off the top there that, and it says on the sheet here that it's Canada's most decorated Olympic athlete, and I fear that that these athletes are going to change that title, take it away from me very, very soon. But merci, Marty, et félicitations à tous les athlètes retenus au sein de l'équipe de Jeux de Tokyo 2020, avec mon accent parisien. I'm honored to play a small part in this team announcement, and so thank you for having me here today. I'd now like to sort of dig a little deeper and see and get to know a little bit more about who will be representing us on the track and the road teams in Tokyo. So let's get them through a little Q&A. And I'm going to start with who is officially Hugo number 2, because Hugo, although he was announced first, was the second Hugo on the call. So we're unofficially calling him Hugo number 2. But Hugo, congratulations on being named to the Canadian Olympic team. You've raced all the big monuments. Like you're over in Europe now preparing for a big race this weekend. You've raced all 3 Grand Tours. Just give us a sense like how competing at the Olympic Games might compare to these other big world-class cycling events. Can you hear me, Hugo?
Yes. And you?
Okay. Okay. You got me?
Yes, yes, I got you.
Okay, so give me a sense, just give us a sense of what, again, with the great record that you have on, the big races, big cycling races, including the 3 Grand Tours. How might competing at the Olympics compare to those kinds of events?
It's totally different it's another perspective. The atmosphere in the village is something else that I'm used to it in my routine. We have our own staff around and what we have to do. But as I race in Rio, see the difference, all the Olympic, and the fact to be all together to see other athletes from different sports, actually like athletes, not like me, it was quite special. I would say the Olympic for me, it's really the atmosphere that is all around this. The fact that we see other sports, other world tour cycling. But once we are on the bike, it's mainly the same pattern. Okay, it's different. That's rider inside the team. But yeah, we know what we have to do, and I saw a chance next year. Michael Woods, so I'm sure we're gonna find their guys that can do cycling. We have shown the past few months.
Just 1 second there, Hugo. Just need you to speak up a little bit more because I'm kind of losing you a little bit in what you're saying, because I just think I heard the last part about the dynamic that you guys are gonna. Again, the road race is, we all know the road cycling is a team event. You also be competing in the individual time trial, which I think would have been is tomorrow or the next day if we were actually Tokyo 2020 going on. But just give us a sense, like how, again, you're a strong domestique rider in the peloton. Road cycling is a team event. How might that dynamic play out when now you're representing your country at an event like the Olympic Games?
As a Canadian team, we have to be smarter because we have a little bit less riders than big country that have 6, 7 riders in the race. So at 3 riders, we have to be smart how to save our energy, and for us, we'll save him as much as energy as possible that he can follow the best. The last time, our strategy will be to save Michael as much as we can.
Yeah, well, and it is. There's definitely there's going to be it is a numbers game, and it's. I understand the road course in Tokyo is actually quite intense. So thanks, Hugo. Again, congratulations, man, on being named to the team. Allison, this will be your second Olympic Games. And you guys just actually finished up a bit of a training camp out in BC. So very exciting to get the group together. How might did your past experience at the Olympics, how's that going to play out with your preparation going into Tokyo? Do is it going to help you, hinder you? Just give us a sense of that.
Yeah, I think kind of Hugo kind of alluded to it, that the games are really something special. There's kind of nothing like them, and having been through it and just having teammates who have also been through it, I think it is an advantage for sure. Being out in Vancouver with the girls is really nice to kind of feel like we had some momentum back kind of going towards Tokyo 2021 now, I guess. And this Olympic announcement too is just it's nice to kind of feel like we're moving forward and making plans, and we're pretty fortunate to be able to do that. So yeah, I think the games are definitely something special, and I think having done 2016 and getting a medal there and everything, it lets us put it on the line a bit more for Tokyo 2021 and kind of prepare that way.
Yeah, it gives you a little more time to sort of to prep and do so with such great focus. You alluded to Rio, bronze medal there in the team pursuit. Since Rio, the squad the group that was nominated today, again with some support from some other of the athletes, has lowered your Canadian record by 3 seconds, like a dramatic improvement in time. Is there anything specifically that you guys can attribute that to?
Yeah, this World Cup season, I would say, I think arguably we have a stronger team than we did in Rio in a few ways, and to be blunt, we kind of got our heads kicked in a couple of the early World Cups this season, and it made us go back and assess what we wanted and really kind of put it on the line and decide what we were going to do and kind of take a bit more control, and we were able to come away and reset, and within 3 months in Worlds make some pretty significant changes that really let us kind of lower that time and put us back in the mix. Worlds obviously wasn't the result we wanted. We were fourth there with a few kind of messy rides in the ones that mattered, but we put together a really good qualifying ride, something that we haven't really done. And like you said, the time is closer to where it needs to be, kind of closer to the top than ever. And the same with the few teams though. So it's going to be a fight in Tokyo for sure. But yeah, I think we're definitely maybe in there.
Nice. Yeah, that is exciting. And again, with that extra time, now you can start refining, and as the squad gets to train together more, those improvements will come in spades. So congratulations on being named to your second Olympic team. Thank you, Allison. Vince, buddy, competing at both Summer and Winter Olympic Games. Man, you've made the transition from speed skating to cycling and plan on going back to speed skating again. What is it with cyclists and these dual sports, dual competition? I don't get it. I do get it. I'm joking, but it's but these Olympics are, this process has just become a bit more of a challenge for you, right? Because you would have been competing right now in Tokyo and then had 18 or so months to transition over to Beijing, which is in 2022. How are you going to balance that now go forward with the timeline being condensed by 12 months?
Yeah, it was a bit of a challenge trying to figure out, but with the help of both coaches and both federations, we found a way to, I don't want to use compromise because it seems like I'm just getting like something that's less than what I would have wanted, but I think this is the best scenario we could have come up with so that I can go back and forth in a very short turnaround. I think it's now 180 days in between the closing and opening ceremonies. But we found a way to make it work, and so far things have been moving in the right direction. The first training camp went fairly well. So far no major red flags were brought up, and we're kind of working together and bringing both national teams kind of close together and sharing more, hopefully sharing more information, mostly around like my physiology and how it translates. But in the future, I hope that it can kind of bring, I guess, some innovation to both sports in some way by sharing some data, because both sports go similar speeds for similar amount of time. So it's kind of interesting that well, at least to see what can be brought over.
No, I never. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Actually, as back in my day, we used to. My coach was a speed skating coach as well, so I used to do some of the crossover exercises that way. Not to the level that you ever did it, but still there. I mean, one of the exciting things going into Tokyo is that we're going to be fielding a men's team pursuit squad for the first time since the '76 Olympics. Now, there's a few things I think we can attribute that to, but just like how, just give us a sense of how, from your perspective, how you guys have made this happen. How you're doing something where we're going to be sending our largest cycling team ever to an Olympic Games, and a large part because we're sending a men's team.
I think, yeah, I can speak only from my experience of being with the team over the last 2 years now, 2.5 years. And I think it's largely due to just targeting some major pillars first and then working from there. It's just kind of being critical and seeing where the biggest blocks we can move first. So like if there's something we can do that'll give us a huge improvement, and we start with that, and then we start working on smaller and smaller things as we start nailing down the bigger blocks of the foundation. And I think it's just kind of the team coming together at a right time with, good support from the COC and all its partners. And I think it's definitely a good team. We have a nice little balance, all sorts of different skill sets that are actually being utilized. And I think that's probably key, is we're not totally trying to mimic anything else, and we're just working with everyone and what they can do well, instead of just trying to put people in kind of boxes and saying, like, you have to do this because you're there. So I think it's just acknowledging where we needed to improve and starting from there, and then working our way up.
Nice, man. Well, again, Vince, congratulations on being named to this team, and good luck on the journey to Tokyo. But I'll sort of put in a little plug there, and good luck on that transition from Tokyo to Beijing. Geez, you might as well just stay over in Asia, right? You might as well just stay there.
All right, thank you
What
very
the
much.
heck, eh? Kelsey Mitchell. You're like so new to cycling. Of course, came through the RBC training ground, made big inroads into cycling. Not only you really started taking it seriously in early 2019. Already a Pan Am Games gold medalist. One of the most amazing things is that you shattered the women's 200-meter world record back in October. You've won multiple World Cup medals already in your short little career. I just remember having a conversation earlier with you earlier this year with how well you and Lorianne were doing in the team sprint competition, and you were going, man, if we only had more time. Now you've got it. Like, is this added time actually an advantage?
I mean, everyone gets an extra year to train now, but I really think that Lorianne and myself can benefit immensely from it. Both of us are quite new to the sport. She did the 2018-2019 World Cup season, and I did the 2019, and we both won some medals, so we're up there. I did fourth at Worlds, and nobody likes getting fourth, but it just, like, I'm up there with them, and so an extra year just to get better on the bike, stronger in the gym is, a blessing.
No, freaking awesome, right? Sorry. I think, going to the Olympics is a dream for many athletes, right? You're in this to be, it's kind of like the show, right? It's the big show. So, just tell us a little bit about what this means.
Almost 3 years ago, I had this idea in my mind. I was like, I want to go to the Olympics. That's my dream, and people were like, you're going to learn a brand new sport, qualify for the Olympics, and go to the Olympics. And
Did we lose her?
Yeah, that's what I want to do. And I mean, RBC training grounds made that
unfortunately,
possible.
the video froze.
I found track cycling, and I put everything I had into it, and it's been quite a journey. The video froze. Oh, sorry. It's been a journey. It's been a crazy 2.5 years, and to say that I'm officially going to be going to the Olympics is a dream.
Man, that's awesome. I love that. Well, congratulations, Kelsey. It really is fantastic, and looking forward to the great stuff a year from now. And last, but certainly not least, my brother from another mother. We've got Hugo Barrett, and dude, hey, congratulations again for making another Olympic team. You've got great experience, right? And this year was a challenging year for you. Again, another crash, another injury, and getting through that. So, maybe do you got advice or, you know, recall any experiences that maybe you're sharing with like Nick and maybe the other athletes that you get the chance to train with every day about what it means to go to
Oh, absolutely.
the Olympics are all about?
At this point, I think I'm kind of an old wolf, and so I can bring this experience, and I try to. I wouldn't dare say teach, but at least instill my experience on the younger athletes. I think especially in these times right now, we won't be competing in big races until the Olympics. It's very weird. It's so easy to be complacent and just go with the motion and just train to train. But I really want to bring that kind of energy and that positivity, that message that this is an opportunity. Like Kelsey said, 1 year can make a big difference, and most of these young athletes, they have a lot of potential, and 1 year can make all the difference on them. So I'll be hard on them, and I'll be hard on myself. I want the whole group to come in the best of shape at the Olympics, and most importantly, just at another level.
Nice. And I guess the same thing kind of holds true with you. Like just months before Rio, you had a pretty much a career-ending crash that you miraculously recovered from, and showed up in Rio. Again, you had a crash earlier at the end of last year that affected this year's racing season. You've been given some free time, right? You got some extra time, and do you feel does that help heal those injuries, and is that going to bring you to
Absolutely.
Tokyo in a stronger
that
way?
accident this year, we could arguably say had a lot more impact on my body than anything else. I broke my scapula, but displaced my hip, my hands, and so it took a while for me to come back to full shape. And I'm happy to say that right now I'm on the right path to go in and perform at my best ever in my life. Already we see in my numbers and my times that I'm gearing up for a great year, and there's a lot to come. And like I said, I'm taking this opportunity full blast to come out at the Olympic as a kind of a Hugo 2.0.
Nice.
Thank you.
Well, good luck on that journey, man. And Kelsey, Allison, Vince, Hugo 1, Hugo 2, and Hugo 2.0 and Hugo 2. Once again, congratulations on your nomination today to the Canadian Olympic team, and good luck on that extended road to Tokyo that is now in front of us. And it's with. Thank you for sharing your stories here during this webinar, this presentation. And Marty, back over to you.
Thank you, Kurt. Merci, Kurt, et merci aux athlètes de partager leur perspective. Thank you to the athletes for sharing some insight. Like many nominated to the Olympic team before you, when your plans got disrupted, you and your team have assessed, recalculated, and are figuring it out. Your plan may have changed, but your goal has not. And like Allison said, you're now moving forward and making plans. You're all figuring it out. And like Hugo just said, take it all as an opportunity. It really is. There's so much, if you choose, there's so much advantage that can be taken out of this time. And around the Olympics, somebody always rises up. And in this 2020 plus one, it absolutely will be the team. Like Hugo said, don't be complacent. Don't train to train. What a fabulous piece of advice from one of your veterans. Today, you're officially one step closer to the goal, one step closer to Tokyo, and I can't wait to cheer you on live at the Izu Velodrome, the Musashino Nomori Park, and the Fuji International Speedway. Kurt, I think you would have appreciated that. French is obviously a stumbling block, but now I also have Japanese to work on. That concludes our formal portion of the announcement. To any media who've watched this webinar and would like to speak to an athlete, please reach out to Karine Bedard and Philippe Tremblay at Cycling Canada by phone or by email. Again, we'll share congratulations for the athletes. You are the first of a wave of Canadians who will be named to this team, and I have every confidence it is going to be our best Olympic team ever. Go Canada, go. Thank you for your time today.